Good morning again. It's very nice to have people down here. Would the children of all ages come down front, please? That would be you, that's right. And you're welcome. Please come and join us on this first pew. Would you come and join us? So we have people of different heights. This is wonderful. It is a day of community, it is a day of Fort Street. It is also Earth Day. And I'm going to pass out something. This is from our altar downstairs. In Bible stories, oftentimes people use large boulders to create altars. And these are some of the stones. You may take one. That we enjoy downstairs. It's on our altar for day 3 because God made the earth on day 3. And I want to talk a little bit about a different kind of rock. And I'm going to ask David, would you please read a scripture for me, please?
Jesus was asking the disciples who they thought he was. Simon Peter answered, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Jesus answered, "And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church." Matthew chapter 6, verses 16 through 18.
Thank you so much. So we're talking about rocks today of all kinds. Would you read this, please, Aiden, and tell us about different rocks?
Different rocks are normal rocks, stones, mountains, pebbles, boulders, and slate.
Slate, aha. What could slate be? I believe we have pieces of slate here from Fort Street's roof. I think Fort Street's roof tells us that we are part of God's rock. I think Fort Street Church is made of many rocks, and we happen to have an expert here today who's going to tell us a little bit about it.
Wow, I wasn't going there. I was going a whole different place, but I'll tell you a little story. Y'all know you're holding rocks in your hand. They're pretty hard, right? And do you think they're harder than wood? Or is a rock harder than wood? Yeah.
Sometimes rocks are harder than wood. Other times they are weaker than wood. And sometimes
That'll be enough, son. Whoa, all right, Art Linkletter time. Well, usually, I think you're really smart young man, but yes, usually I think rocks are harder. If you throw a rock against that pew, don't do it, it will dent it. It'll dent the wood, but it won't hurt the rock, usually. What about wood and straw? Which is stronger, wood or straw? Anybody else? Go ahead, son.
Wood.
Wood is stronger than straw. So now we know that straw is the weakest material that you could build with if you were, say, building a house. Wood is the next strongest, and rock is the very strongest. Now, you all know the tale of the 3 little pigs, right? Okay, the little pig who built his house out of straw was kind of lazy. And I think he was more like, and he didn't want to spend much money or time building his house. He was what we might think of today as a corporate financial officer. He wanted to save as much money as he could. So he did it very quickly. And as you know, when the big bad wolf came along, the banks and the wind and the storms, it blew that thing right down, right? The next little pig, he chose wood, which was stronger, and that's smart. But he was more like a land developer. He wanted it to look good, but be pretty fast to put it up and so he could sell it and make a lot of money, right? And the winds and the storm and the wolf came along again, and it stood longer, but it blew down. And finally, the third little pig, he got bricks which are much like stones because they're very strong and hard. And he built his house, and guess what? He was. You have any idea what profession the third little pig was? Anybody? Of course, he was an architect. Because he knew that the stone was very strong and would stand up to all of the furies of the weather and the banks and the bad people. I went a little too far there, didn't I? Anyhow, that's what God's house is like, and that's what this house is like. It's all stone on the outside, on the walls, and the roof is made out of that slate that you have in your hand, which is stone. And even the stuff you can't see under the ground, which is holding this building up from collapsing, is made out of stone. Those are foundations. And that's what this church is built on. It's built on the foundation of Peter and Jesus and the apostles. And it's God's house, so it has to last forever.
Thank you, Mr. Callas, so much. It is God's house, and I wanted to read to you a little bit, a direct quote from our brilliant Raise the Roof campaign. Slate shingles are one of the most durable roofing materials available. They are made from shale rock, which is really hardened metamorphic clay silt from ancient seabeds and river deltas. So our church is the earth, and I would go even farther and say that the entire earth is God's church. We are taking good care of this church. We are taking good care of this earth. We're going to go downstairs in a short time. Miss Valerie Edwards is going to tell us all about the Fort Street New Recycling Program. And we also are going to be working with the 23rd Psalm. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Jack Callas, architect extraordinaire.